Greetings and salutations. Today is June 12th, 2017, and this is LupisLupineArt's stream video number 8. Wow, it's coming along nicely there. And today we are going to be spending some time in RPGMaker NV working on our Japanese RPG, or just RPG, I think we can call it at this point, Anthaza, which I've been working on the past couple weeks. And we are going to be stumbling around with the dungeon creator elements part of the map, part of the program, where you can actually have the computer randomly generate a set of rooms or tunnels in order to lay out a dungeon for you. In some ways, it works fantastically. In other ways, it just plain does not work at all, as you will see coming up here. But we're still going to take a crack at it. I'm still going to talk a little bit about how it works, give you a little bit of a walkthrough, so hopefully you can take advantage of it for yourself. Now, I've already got the program open, and you saw earlier I started up some music, but we get right into things pretty darn quick. Now, RPG Maker's maps are all held in this main area here, and so the first thing that you have to do in order to successfully create a dungeon is create a new map for it, which I actually didn't realize at the time. So the first thing that I did was try my hardest to figure out how to even get access to the generator. I thought generating the dungeon happened inside a pre-existing map. Fortunately, I didn't go so far as to actually hit the create tool. I would have overwritten one of my old maps. So once I figured it out, once I created a new map, you saw I named it Serendar Junkyard, and I'm goofing around a little bit in the map properties window before I actually do generation. I'm looking at the battle backgrounds section here just to see what's even available. I hadn't looked in here yet, and even though I definitely plan on drawing all of my own battle backgrounds eventually, it was kind of cool to see what was in there. After that, it becomes about creating the map, figuring out what size you want it to be, and then when it's listed, you just right-click on it and choose Generate Dungeon once you decide what tile set it's going to use. So there you go. You pick what the walls are going to be, you pick what the floor is going to be from the particular tile set that you've chosen, and then it does the rest for you, as you can see. Don't like it? Just go back and choose Generate Dungeon again. Now, what I'm doing here, I thought I would mess around with the background. The black space that's filled in there, I decided I didn't like that. I wanted it to be something else. I also decided that the dungeon was too large of a map, so I decided to make it smaller. And then you can redo Generate over and over and over again, either using the same materials or different ones as many times as you like until you get something that pleases you. You see, I was trying to go through and figure out which of the floors and walls I thought was going to do the best in order to make me happy with stuff. I eventually decided on something without really looking too closely, and then got on to the second part of things, which is, well, unfortunately, as you can see, I'm not too happy with how the rooms, there's a couple variable sizes, but the tunnels are always exactly the same size. It's very, very uniform. So if you're looking for something that's going to be a cave or going to be I don't know what else would work. Well, what I was going for is I'm trying to create a junkyard. And I imagined something with less specific rectangular, like this looks like a factory to me, or this would be great for the inside of a castle or something of that nature. So in order to get something a little bit more organic, you're kind of forced to go through then and mess with the side walls, get them a little bit more rounded. Maybe you have to widen hallways, things of that nature. For me, ultimately, though, as you can see here, what I decided was it just wasn't going to work for the format that I wanted. In my brain, when I think junkyard, I think of that gigantic field area that has the fence around the outside. And the actual dungeon is made up of the maze of piles of garbage and rusting twisted metal and stuff like that that is all inside that fence. And RPG Maker doesn't really have anything that works that well for creating a dungeon inside another space, because then it starts to get into when you change the size of a map in RPG Maker, it doesn't scoot things to the center. It grows it just from one corner. You've got to be prepared to that. So if you increase the size, an extra 10 by 10, it's going to be off the side and off the side. And there also is not a way to grab and scoot things. So if you make a really cool, inn, and you've got, the trellis and, all the stuff hanging off of it, and it looks fantastic, but it just needs to be one square to the right. There's no way to grab and draw a box around it and copy and paste that stuff one square over. It just that doesn't exist inside this program. All the scooting needs to be manual. There's no selection tool in here. So that created another problem. So what I did here was I liked my map size, or so I thought. So I started to imagine the big dirt area with road going around it. You can see I'm creating some road, but then I also decided I didn't want you to be able to walk off one side of the map and come around the other, and I didn't want all four sides to be exitable. So I started to run into this whole invisible walls thing, and I decided I wanted to be better than the guy who does the invisible walls all around. So I decided that the best thing to do was to expand my map size and then manually scoot everything so I could have a little bit of frame outside of my road. And then I'm going to put in some buildings, some forest, something around the outside edges that makes it so you can walk all the way around this road. Like you can walk all the way outside or around the outside of the junkyard, and I'll put some decoration and stuff like that in there. But you can't necessarily walk off the edge of the map around all four sides. So I ended up having to manually scoot my road and then draw the stuff around the outside of it here. So I'm gonna let that happen for a little bit, and we'll talk about what you can do on the inside. Then we'll get when we get closer to the end to create some interesting boundaries, some compelling boundaries. I'll be honest, I hadn't even gotten to the part where I'm drawing the actual dungeon on the inside during the course of this build session. I basically get my frame all ready to go. It does work pretty darn nicely, but I need to get some junkyard in there. And that's mostly because I found I don't have any tiles that, in my opinion, are good for creating piles of junk inside a junkyard. I'm going to have to manually create a tile set, some tiles to make that, and I just hadn't hit that point yet. I have gotten to the point where I've done some really cool editing to the existing tiles. You may have noticed my map, but what I did was I turned down the saturation to make everything look just a little bit grayed out, not quite as bright and shiny. I'm very excited about how that came out, but it's going to mean needing to do all of that alterations for every tile set so far in the game that already exists, let alone building new ones. So there's a lot to do there. There's a lot to do. So right now I'm just trying to get my road looking good, the little insinuated kind of narrow sidewalk sort of a thing, where I wanted it to continue off the map supposedly, and where I wanted it to be blocked off and have it looking good. But in terms of it being just a set of roads in a blank dirt area, I'm off to a good start. I need to dig in and look for some. Oh, another thing about editing tile sets, I had to create yet another new one here. I knew it was coming. Um, I can probably spend an entire tutorial time just talking about uh, how tile sets work with the whole passage for direction ladder, bushes, counters, damage floors, and terrain tags. I get building all of that stuff. It's very, very specific. There's a lot of cool things in there on how you can limit and control how characters can move inside of a tile set, all infinitely controlled, regardless of what the actual tiles look like. So I'll get into talking about that real soon when it applies, because there's dungeon tiles that are switches. When you step on them, something happens. All that kind of stuff. Infinitely possible. Very, very cool stuff. It's like I'm chatting with some fans there. If you like what you're seeing, check out my Patreon page. It is /LupisLupine. Get involved. Help me out. I am looking for a little bit of financial help getting the game made. I've got the day job right now that I'm trying to make work. I got to work in a bunch of hours, so this is a very limited amount of time. Where when you're making a game and making all of the artwork custom, teaching yourself as you go, hey, if you want it to happen faster, there's a way you can do that. The more money I make making the game, the less money I need to make doing the day job thing. So check it out there. There's definitely a link in below the YouTube video that'll take you straight there. Take a look at the benefits. I've got all kinds of incentives to maybe make you interested, make it worthwhile for you to check things out. So, yeah, all right, I've got my Sarandar junkyard tile set all set to go. I'm happy with the outside, and I am just getting into now figuring out which tiles, what am I going to use? Am I going to have a sidewalk all the way around the outside? I think I ultimately killed that. I just did not like how it looked, and I eventually get to making my walls here. I'll just let this go for a little bit while I explore through all of the tiles, that sort of thing. I'm not going to talk for the entire time lapsed here because, well, ultimately, at this point, it just becomes about more building, which I'd love to have you come and just check out and watch. I stream through Twitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. I recently adjusted my stream schedule, so if you've been paying attention, that might be some new news to you with the timing. So yeah. Check me out on Twitch TV, LupisLupineArt. Like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific time, 3 days a week. I'm looking to expand that, stream for longer. That'd be fun. Have you guys hang out and stream, talk to me about what you're seeing, what you like, what you don't like, all that kind of stuff. Hang on just a moment. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to string this together or not. Is this still episode 8 or is it 8B? I don't know. Either way, honestly, I had pretty much finished up talking about what the major content for the video is today. I guess all I've got to say at this point is, as I was saying earlier, check me out on Patreon. I have the full-length videos with the original sound in them so you can hear my step-by-step. We're really pull it apart where I'm learning myself as well as teaching you, as well as other benefits to becoming my Patreon. Artwork, access to the game in a downloadable version. Anyway, thanks a lot for joining me. Next time, we are definitely going to be focusing on some artwork side of things. I don't even know if it's going to be game related. I've just been thinking I need to just do some fun drawing. I've been so focused on this recently. Break it down, relax, that sort of a thing. So check me out on Twitch. I'll be doing that on let's see, today's Monday, so tomorrow evening, and then Wednesday I'll be at that, and then moving forward, coming up with something fun, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot. As usual, thumbs up if you like the video, thumbs down if you don't. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. This has been Lupus Lupine's Art Stream. Yeah, episode 8. Can you believe it? Take it easy, folks, and have a good evening.